Some people feel most alive in the quiet corners of their own homes. They don't crave crowded streets, loud energy, or the attention of random strangers. Instead, they find comfort in familiar rooms and the sound of stillness. To others, they might seem like they're avoiding life, but the truth is, they're living it differently. These people aren't running away from the world, they're running toward peace. There's real psychology behind this. Studies show that people who love being at home often have incredibly active inner worlds. Their imagination, their thoughts, their emotions, everything is vivid and full. Inside their minds, there's movement, depth, and meaning. Home isn't a hiding place. It's a sanctuary where all of that has room to breathe. Psychologists sometimes call this high internal self-presence, the ability to feel more connected to your inner world than the outer one. These people don't need noise or chaos to feel joy. They can sit by a window, sip something warm, and feel a kind of fulfillment others chase miles away. Their hearts don't race in crowds, they steady themselves in quiet. But here's the interesting part. It wasn't always like this. Many of them tried to fit into the fast-moving world. They tried matching the energy of friends who love parties, constant plans, or endless adventure. And somewhere along the way, they realized something important. Their calm wasn't a flaw. Their love for solitude wasn't a weakness. It was simply who they were. I remember realizing this myself. I used to think staying home would make me feel left out or lonely. But instead, my space made me feel understood. I didn't need noise to feel alive. I didn't need attention to feel seen. I started valuing the sound of turning pages more than the sound of applause. That's when I understood. Peace is also a way of living. Staying home doesn't mean being alone. Sometimes it means being with yourself and actually listening. And that's something the busy world often forgets. Many people who prefer being at home share a powerful trait: introspection. They think deeply. Every moment becomes a story. Every memory becomes a lesson. They feel emotions fully. Joy feels rich. Sadness feels meaningful. Hope feels like direction. They don't rush through their feelings just to keep up with everyone else. They give themselves time to understand them. Research even shows that people who enjoy solitude often score high in creativity, empathy, and emotional intelligence. Their quiet gives them clarity. Their calm helps them understand people, even if they themselves aren't always understood. But the world sometimes mislabels them. You're missing out. You should socialize more. Don't you get bored? These comments sting because they imply something is wrong with being a homebody. Yet many of history's greatest thinkers, artists, and creators were homebodies. They didn't stand in crowds, they stood in their rooms shaping ideas that changed everything. Maybe that's the hidden truth. Silence has its own language. It teaches patience, observation, and a kind of inner strength that doesn't need attention to exist. Still, here's a curiosity. If home feels so safe, what are they protecting themselves from? Sometimes it's overstimulation. People who love staying home can be deeply affected by noise, chaos, or emotional unpredictability. Their nervous system craves stability, a place where energy can settle instead of constantly react. Home gives them control over their environment, and that control gives them peace. Sometimes it's trust. They give their hearts carefully, not because they're cold, but because they feel everything intensely. Emotional safety matters to them. And sometimes it's simply preference, not fear, not avoidance, just a choice to spend time in a space that feels warm and familiar. They have hobbies that don't require a crowd. Reading, gaming, painting, cooking, watching favorite films, building something personal. Their joy becomes a quiet ritual instead of a loud celebration. They measure happiness in moments, not big events. Here's a secret they rarely admit. They love deeply. They care quietly. They notice everything. When distractions fade, the heart learns how to focus. If you're someone who loves staying home, you've probably felt misunderstood. You may have wondered if your personality is something you need to fix. You may have questioned why loud gatherings don't feel right to you. But what if nothing is wrong? What if the world simply needs more people like you? People who listen before they speak. People who think before they act. People who feel before they pretend. Let me shift for a moment, from talking about them to speaking as one of them. I once believed the world would forget me if I stayed in my room too long. But then I noticed something. My inner world was blooming. Thoughts grew like gardens. Ideas kept me awake more than any party ever could. Meaning lived in the simplicity of my own space. That's when I realized home isn't just walls. Home is a state of mind. Now I want to talk directly to you. Maybe you're one of these people. Maybe you've always felt a little different. Maybe you enjoy your own company more than the noise of a crowd. And maybe the world hasn't celebrated that part of you yet. But your quiet is powerful. Your silence has depth. Your solitude is a gift, not a burden. People who love staying home aren't avoiding life. They're living it intentionally. They don't waste words on small talk or time on shallow moments. They want meaning, authenticity, real connection, even if those connections are few. Psychologists say people who prefer solitude are often highly self-aware. They recognize their own emotions clearly. They know what drains them and what nourishes them. Many people live decades without knowing these things, but homebodies learn early. This doesn't mean they never feel lonely. Loneliness and solitude are not the same. Solitude is chosen. Loneliness isn't. A person can feel lonely even in a crowded room, but solitude gives strength. There are days when staying home feels protective, a break from a world that demands too much. And there are days when it feels like freedom, the freedom to just be. Let's go deeper into the psychology behind it. Introversion versus energy management. Not all home-living people are introverts. Even extroverts need the peace of home to recharge. It's more about emotional energy, what preserves it and what drains it. Trust and vulnerability. They don't open up easily. They choose relationships carefully. Their hearts may seem guarded, but once they trust someone, they love with a depth others rarely understand. Complex inner life. Their mind is a studio of imagination. They can turn stillness into creativity. They don't need faraway destinations. They find meaning in presence. Control of environment. They know what triggers discomfort, anxiety, or overstimulation. Home lets them manage their space, their time, their emotions. But here's a paradox. Sometimes they love home because the world once hurt them. A broken friendship, a betrayed trust, a moment when their feelings were too big for others to hold. So they built a space where they never have to apologize for who they are. If you've ever stayed home because the outside world felt heavy, you're not alone. You're learning to protect your peace. And that's emotional intelligence, not avoidance. Still, staying home doesn't mean you don't dream. Your dreams aren't small. They're internal. You want meaning, beauty, purpose. And you don't want a crowd cheering for you. You want one person who truly understands you. Maybe you're waiting for the right moment, the right people, the right softness from the world. Here's something personal, and maybe you'll relate. Home is the one place where you don't fear judgment, where you don't have to perform, where exhaustion melts into comfort. Some days you watch life move outside your window, cars rushing, people hurrying, noise everywhere, and you smile because you know the real treasure is inside. But the world will keep telling you otherwise. Society glorifies non-stop hustle as if rest is laziness, as if stillness is failure. But rest is growth. Stillness is clarity. Silence is understanding. You may stay home more than others, but your life isn't paused. You're observing, healing, becoming. And because you feel deeply, you love deeply. Your relationships, even if few, are authentic. If someone is in your life, they truly matter. You give loyalty and gentleness most people are too distracted to offer. You catch the sigh someone hides, the message they didn't send, the strength behind someone's silence. You understand emotions not just through words, but through pauses. That's a rare kind of strength. People who love home often have self-companionship. They don't fear their own thoughts or run from their emotions. They can sit with themselves and still feel whole. That's not loneliness. That's self-connection. So let me speak clearly, directly, honestly. You are not strange for loving home. You are not ambitious. You are not fragile. You are not missing out. You're building a life that doesn't drain you. And one day, when the timing is right, when the world feels a little softer, you'll step out. Not because you have to, but because you want to. And that choice will make the outside world feel even more beautiful. Until then,
Sip your warm coffee slowly. Keep exploring the worlds inside your mind. Keep guarding your peace. Keep loving quietly, but deeply. Because the people who love staying home are the ones who make the world feel like home.